It's the end of the year, and if you're like most high-income earners, you're hunting for deals. Maybe you've had a strong year, and your CPA mentioned that you need depreciation, and now you're hearing everyone say, hey, you can write off income with real estate. Maybe you start looking at real estate syndications, maybe a fund, maybe even an oil and gas deal, and suddenly every operator's saying the same thing. You can get big tax write-offs here, but hey, we're not CPAs. Go check with your CPA. I just want to cover here, before you wire that money, here's the truth, which is not all write-offs hit your taxes the same way that you think they do. And in this episode, I'm going to show you how the IRS actually looks at your income and the 3 buckets it puts it in, and how to match the right type of deal to the goal that you actually have, whether that's cash flow, appreciation, or tax reduction. Hey guys, my name is Pascal Wagner, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm the host of Passive Income Playbook on the Best Ever CRE Network. And before I got into private investing, I worked at a venture capital firm called Techstars, where I deployed over $150 million into early stage companies. But my real claim to fame, and I guess what really got me into this world, is that after my dad passed away, I helped my mom manage the capital from his estate. And that experience forced me to learn how to invest intelligently and not just chase returns. And so since then, that was in 2021, I've invested over $3.3 million across 23 different private deals. And those investments now generate my family over $100,000 in passive income. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that most investors are looking at deals the wrong way. So every week, people come to me asking, Pascal, what is the best deal for tax write-offs? And so in this episode, I want to save you a few years of frustration and explain the 3 types of income that the IRS looks at, because once you understand this, you'll know exactly which deals actually help you and which ones are just hype to get you to look at the deal. So I'm going to start out with a little bit of a story. Here's how I got familiar with this topic. So early on, I was doing what most investors do, is I was earning income, I was buying and selling some stocks, and I was dabbling in real estate. But I didn't really understand how all of it fit together from a tax standpoint. And so I'd pick up snippets here and there, right? We all pick up different rules or hacks from our friends, someone talking about depreciation, another, talking about selling your losers to cover the gains. And my CPA, would say something about passive losses. And I didn't actually get how all of those rules fit together. And so that led to one year I got hit with a $40,000 tax bill that I wasn't expecting. And I didn't have the liquidity ready, and I didn't have enough money in my bank accounts. And that's when it hit me that I was making money but not managing it and planning for it through the tax code. And so I realized I didn't just need these investments that are tools to help me reduce my taxable income, but I also needed to understand how they worked. And I see the same issue with a lot of my clients, high earners, business owners, smart people who have no idea why the write-offs they were promised don't actually show up on their tax return. And so that's exactly what we're going to get into this episode. Okay, so here's the simple rule that changed everything for me. So you can only offset like with like. So active income can only be offset by active losses. Passive income offsets passive losses, or rather passive losses offset passive income, and portfolio losses offset portfolio income. Once you understand that, you'll stop expecting every investment to reduce your taxes and start using the right types of investments for the right goals. So let's start with the first one, active income. So this is the money that you work for, your W-2, your business profits, your commissions, your consulting fees, and it's the hardest bucket to offset, and it's taxed the most heavily. You have your federal tax rate, you've got your state, you've got your city taxes on your income. California and New York have some of the highest taxes on high income, and Florida has no income tax. And so if you're a dentist or a doctor or a highly paid executive, you can't just buy a multifamily syndication and expect it to zero out your taxes. And that is the mistake that I see all the time. Now, there are a few exceptions, but they're rare. So 3 of them include, oil and gas investments. So there are these things called intangible drilling costs that can give you immediate deductions against your active income. The second one is you or your partner having real estate professional status. So if you or your spouse materially participate in the management of your properties, you can turn the passive losses that you have from depreciation in your real estate against your active income. And then there's also the third one, which is opportunity zones or DSTs, which let you defer your gains, but not really deduct them. So everyone else, those passive losses from your deals, that those just sit there waiting until you have passive income to offset them. So I had a client who thought that his multifamily investment would wipe out, $300,000 in taxable income. But instead, he just got a passive loss that he couldn't use yet. And when it came to tax time, he was furious with the CPA. I know this because we got on our call after he met with the CPA. But you see here, the CPA didn't do anything wrong. I mean, maybe they should have advised them a little bit better. But, it's understanding how these different types of income work with each other. So I'd like to now get into bucket number 2. So let's talk about portfolio income. So this is the money that comes from your paper assets. So stocks, bonds, dividends, interest. And here's where most investors get tripped up. So portfolio income feels passive, but in the eyes of the IRS, it is not. And you can't use real estate losses to offset your stock market gains. Portfolio offset portfolio income, and that's it. So if you sell Tesla stock at a gain, you can only offset it with another stock loss, not depreciation from your apartment deal. And so, I had a tech exec, once tell me, hey, Pascal, I want to use real estate depreciation to wipe out, some of my capital gains. And I was there and I was like, man, I wish it worked that way. So the IRS treats portfolio income completely separately, and it's in its own unique lane, and there's no crossover here. So the big takeaway is that portfolio income is passive in behavior, but not in the IRS sense. So that's why you can't use your K1 losses from real estate to offset your stock market wins. And that leads me to the third bucket of passive income. So now we're in the fun bucket, the passive income dream. And this is where real estate and private equity funds, private funds live. And here's the beauty of this category, which is that passive losses can offset passive income. So if you're stacking the right kind of deals, where you have these multifamily properties, or if you're into self-storage or mobile home parks or office, like pick your favorite asset class, and you are earning income from those properties, you can use the depreciation from all of those real estate, any of your other real estate deals, to offset that income. So you can actually make money from one and use the losses from the other to wipe out the taxes. And so that's where this game starts to change. So for example, last year, I've had all of my real estate I started buying in 22 and 23. And so that gave me a lot of upfront depreciation. And as I met with my tax accountant, she comes to me and she's now saying, hey, Pascal, we've used up all of the depreciation. Unless you buy new properties, you will have to pay tax on all the income that is generated from your real estate portfolio. So if you're in that kind of situation, your tax accountant should be able to guide you and give you a little bit of a heads up on how much depreciation you have left and what you might need to do in order to offset that. So, this is why I tell people that if you're an LP, your real superpower isn't chasing the highest IRR, because all these IRRs are projections anyway. But it's understanding where each deal that you're investing in fits in your bucket, and in what income bucket, and using them together to build something that's predictable, where you have a strategy and it is tax efficient. So let's zoom out for a second. So the goal here, isn't just to earn more. It's to align your bucket. So most people have all of their income stuck in one place, in the active bucket. And they get hammered in taxes because they have no way to control it. And wealthy investors build systems that shift more income into the passive bucket where depreciation can shield it. And that's the real game. You're not just working for income anymore. You're using strategy to make sure you can keep as much of that income that you earn as you can. And once you start seeing your investments this way, every deal that you look at should suddenly make a lot more sense. So stop asking, what is the return? And start asking, like, what problem is this deal solving in my tax plan? So let's recap quickly. So, there's 3 different types of income. There's active income, the money that you work for, hardest to offset, highest to tax. Then there's portfolio income, your paper assets like stocks and bonds that have totally separate rules. They've got short-term gains, and then there's like 20% long-term capital gains that it's taxed at. And then passive income, which is, real estate and passive deals. And this is where the depreciation lives and where you can actually manage your tax exposure. And the key here is that you're not just buying a deal because someone said it had great write-offs. It's figuring out what type of deal is it, like what type of income can it actually offset, and how much is that actually going to affect your net return after taxes. So all that being said, if you're looking for deals that might fit your tax bill, I send out the Passive Investing Starter Kit, which breaks down investments with each kind of income type, and you can see everything from lending funds, mobile home parks, self-storage, office, industrial, and it's all the different deal flow that I find when I am as part of being an LP investor myself. So there's over 800 deals in there. We give you the top 3 every Friday. So if you're looking for more deal flow and private deals to help you round out your investing by the end of the year, I recommend going to passiveinvestingstarterkit.com, because the best investors don't just chase returns, they understand what problem their capital is solving for them. So remember, it's about alignment. And once you understand that, you will start playing the game that the wealthy do. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you on the next episode.